So today I'm going to talk about Bandai's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and specifically this is Donatello. I don't have him with his weapons, but they're in a box somewhere. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is one of the most popular figures out there. Here's Big Bad Toy Store, and I filtered down to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures, and there's 182. This is just what's currently available, and there are just tons and tons and tons of these. 4 pages of this, and I'm sure that if you went on Amazon, you'd find an even larger selection. And these toys go back to the 80s. I mean, these right here, these are the recent ones, but God knows how many there are total. Of all of these, I own precisely one, which is this one right here. And I got this one kind of on a whim because the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are so ubiquitous in the figure market and toy market. And so I've had good success with Bandai, so I figured I'd get one. And as I was debating whether to get the other ones, because they're basically palette swaps with the change of the letter on their chest. I mean, I guess that'd be their stomach, and the weapons are different. They're pretty much the same. So as I was debating, I kind of debated too long, and they started jumping up in price. And so I only ended up getting the one. I wish I had gotten the other 3. They're not cheap, but they're not super expensive. If you go on Amazon right now, there they are, and you can see that they're all up over $100. For some reason, Donatello isn't among them. I'm not sure why, but I'm not willing to pay that much. I don't know. Sometimes Bandai will re-release, so if they ever re-release, I probably would pick them up. I want to say that I probably got this in more the $40 range. I've been a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan since almost the beginning. I'm not any kind of rampant fan, but I've enjoyed them. Back in the 80s when they first started coming out, there were no internet, nothing like that. So the information I got was from fanzines, but it was pretty popular. It was really getting a lot of attention. It was kind of during the height of Frank Miller, so it's not surprising that they took inspiration from Frank Miller. But it's a comic book that I think is really deserving of the praise it got. I quit collecting after a while, and it's funny because I have some pretty early issues, and they're surprisingly not as pricey as one might think for them. Mine aren't in exquisite condition, so I haven't really found a reason to sell them. But I think that people underestimate how much influence the toys had on the popularity of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And Netflix, the show, The Toys That Made Us, their season 3, the first episode was on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the toys. And I highly recommend watching it. It's a pretty cool episode. The reason I got this one is, like I said, because I had pretty good success with Bandai, and I figured, well, I should have at least one Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toy, and I figured I'd like one that's higher quality. And I would say probably for its size, maybe the most expensive. I don't know if that's true, but it's certainly expensive for its size. NECA has all sorts of toys out there, ones that are more expensive, but a lot of these are, say, quarter scale, so they would be significantly. This is more like, I think, 4.5 inches probably. It's a relatively small figure for the price. But what you can't feel is the weight. It is a heavy, dense figure. It feels like quality. This is a rubbery material. This is hard plastic. The shell feels great. These are all separate pieces. It's bandana, elbow pad, wristband. These are all separate pieces. I'm not sure if this is metal or not. I was convinced the other day, and now I'm not as sure. But you can see how the band kind of wraps around. Um, this piece, this comes off. Do I want to take it off? Yeah, it comes off fairly easily. I remember why it comes off, and now it's escaping me on why they even have it. The knee pads are separate pieces. So the joints are really fantastic. So this one is a bit obvious. I'm not sure why they don't hide it a little bit more, but it has kind of two-dimensional butterfly joints, and it feels fantastic. All of the joints, whether it's the elbow, the wrist, bicep curl, everything feels fantastic. There's even, it's kind of strange, but they have, it looks like ab crunch, although, I don't know. It seems a little weird since I don't think you can do ab crunch on him. The hip joints are very nice, very smooth. You could see the quality of the knee joints. But what really, really amazed me about this figure, more than anything else, and I think this is what shows that Bandai really cares about what they do. The calves are die cast, and it even advertises on the figure that it has strategically placed die cast, and I didn't really know what that meant. But obviously, with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, it's got a lot of upper body mass and a lot of weight in the back. So they put die cast in the calves to get that weight down low, and it really works amazing. I cannot tell you how amazed I was and thrilled that they did that, because it really sets the figure apart, and it does add a lot of weight to the figure. So you could see, if despite his big shell on the back, he really just kind of wants to stand up straight. So I've never had this figure fall over, and I do kind of regret, like I said, I kind of regret not getting the other three. Obviously, it's based on the animation from the 1980s and probably further on. I'm not sure which version it is, but it's clearly based on the animation and not on the comic book. So you like the NECA one here. This is clearly based on more on the comic. Here we have kind of the goofy. He's cross-eyed, big silly smile. But with all these figures out here, like I said, I don't even recognize a lot of these figures. I mean, or characters. But I've got enough stuff I collect that the only reason I would get is I'm not interested in a quarter scale figure. I liked this one because it's sort of the size of the figures from the 1980s. It sort of has the look, except it has a much higher quality. One other thing I thought I would show is something. So this is something I went to one of the comic conventions, one of the local comic conventions, and I got this. This is signed by Kevin Eastman, so I actually did get to meet Kevin Eastman, and it was funny when every single person in line, and Kevin Eastman had one of the longest lines up there, maybe the longest, and Frank Miller was there actually too, so his probably was maybe the longest, but Eastman, everybody in line had, of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff, comics and figures in a box and all sorts of stuff to get signed, and I don't know of anyone else who had a non-Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle item. And so he had a handler who would take the stuff and then hand it to him, to Kevin Eastman. And he said, oh, Kevin Eastman's going to be thrilled, because I had no idea. I knew that he had done Kamandi, and I like his art style. And so I actually think that this is probably, in this series, was the best issue in the series. I really enjoyed it. Um, and apparently, Kevin Eastman is a huge fan of Commandi, which is why he took on this project. He did one issue. Each issue was done by a different writer and artist. And so I did get a little bit of a chance to chat with Kevin Eastman, and he told me how much he enjoyed Commandi and working on that, and that he really liked the fact that somebody had something that wasn't Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle related. And this is often what happens with creators when they begin to really get tired of their own creation, whether it be an artist or a musician or whatever. And so that was pretty cool that I got to meet Kevin Eastman. But I definitely think that this is, I figure I'm not going to pay over $100 for them, but if it ever gets re-released, I definitely would go out and get more of these figures, because this is one that I really do enjoy. So that's Donatello.